take a deep breath and go over the list one more time. Enough water to last almost a week, as much of the ammunition as I can carry, supplies for firewood, clean clothes in case there is nowhere and no way that I can wash. On the way there, as much food as will last me hopefully a week. There will be shops on the way there, though I don't really know if any of them have food left, let alone edible food. There's sure to be some expired thing in the shop windows, but not much else most likely. About a week ago, I had been going through what can only be described as a rough patch. Plants weren't growing, water was harder than usual to come by, and things were looking hopeless. In a moment of despair, I decided that I might as well do the things that I'd been avoiding, the things that seemed pointless, foremost of which was, after all, to venture outside and see what was happening in the world. Initially, the idea was morbid, doing something simply because I felt that if I died, it would be the same either way. But as things turned and got better, the plants were showing signs of growth, water was easier to find, and I managed to get the old car started. It became something that I was looking forward to. I had assumed the noise would attract monsters, and I had waited with the gun, but none came. Confused, I sat in the car outside for almost an hour. The fresh air was invigorating, and I went back to the house that I hadn't realized had grown so stuffy. I lay down listening for the low murmuring noises the monsters usually made, but heard none. It took me a long time that night to fall asleep. I was too deep in thought. Between the monotony of everyday tasks, I had ceased to notice anything going on around me. Everything was in auto mode, and I realized in the morning, to my horror, that even the paintings I'd been making all looked the same. I'd been doing everything without thinking, as though I was already dead. There was nothing to living anymore, no adventure, no romance. There were no prospects of true happiness. I could have lived with it if I didn't find someone, never had a family, but the knowledge that my work as an artist would never be seen by anyone, that I could never contribute in any meaningful way, no matter how small, to anyone's life. It was enough to destroy all will to live, or to try and be cheerful. Suddenly the quiet, peaceful life I had lived for the past 7 months became grim and meaningless. I hadn't noticed that the noises outside had stopped. It just didn't occur to me that it was a thing that could ever happen. It didn't click in my mind that I just hadn't seen or heard any of them for heaven knows how long. That's how deeply embedded the routine was. That's how sure I had been of the danger. That even when it was gone, I automatically still prepared for it, without even thinking of finding a better life or trying for any kinds of improvement. One last thing, I say to myself. It's been a while since I've heard my own voice. It sounds strained, raspy, a little bit weak compared to the past. I go to the art room and collect as many canvases as I can, even the paintings that all look the same, and stack them in the back of the car. I stand there for a moment, wondering what exactly it is that I'll find. Whether there are any more monsters left, how many, where exactly I could go, or what exactly I could do. Wherever I end up, I just need to get out of here. I load the rest of my supplies, take a small sketchbook and a pen that I had been saving for something special. I remember buying it. It was the most expensive pen that I had ever bought. But until now, I had felt that I didn't want to waste it. Felt afraid that the art I produced with it wouldn't be worth much. It doesn't matter anymore now. I smile and get into the car myself. One last deep breath, and then I take my first turn into the straight. The world outside is so bright, so warm. I'd gotten so used to the dark, cold apartment I lived in for all this time. Then I see them, flowers everywhere, with no one left to tend to any gardens. The plants had overtaken everything, and the world outside is now alive with vivid, beautiful colors. I had almost forgotten how beautiful they were. I used to paint all the plants I could see, and realized to my own surprise that between planting food and even herbs, I never thought to plant flowers, perhaps subconsciously, in an effort to save water. But now... I stopped the car for a second, try to remember where it was. I have a vague idea, but it all happened so long ago that the memory is so distant and blurry. But I know the general direction, and decide to keep going. On the way there, I keep seeing flowers and overgrown weeds. Even the weeds are really just tiny flowers, considered to be an invasive species. Maybe that's what these monsters are. An invasive species that takes over, turns people. It's not like it's their fault, really. I stop right at the entrance. Usually that's not allowed, but I sincerely doubt anyone is going to come and tell me to move, let alone tow my vehicle. I take my small sketchbook and head into the park. The last time I was here, I'd spent hours staring and fawning over the plants. They were gorgeous, and they still are. But now they're wild, unhinged, and untamed, and I never thought it was possible, but I love them even more now. It's early still, and I sit down in the soft, overgrown grass and start sketching. Before I know it, it's almost sundown. Without having realized it, I'd spent the whole day adding details to the flower sketch. I get up a little shakily and turn to head back in the direction of the car. Just then, I feel something on my shoulder. Instinctively, I jump, grab the gun that's in my pocket, and point it. Behind me is a blue mass, seemingly holding its hands in the air. My finger won't move on the trigger. I've killed hundreds of these things. Why can't I shoot this one? I frown, try to urge myself to pull the trigger. I stare it down in anger, look it in the eyes, and feel the frown soften. We only met once, but I'd recognize those eyes in any form, 1,000 times over. I lower the gun, feel myself half starting to smile. Suddenly, she lunges at me, and I cover my head and duck, waiting for the blow. I hear scratching and screeching, and when it's finally over, I look up from where I'm curled into a ball. I see black goo. The monster that was once my prospective lover is covered in it. Beside her, there's an orange mass that seems to be bleeding more of the same substance. Suddenly it clicks in my mind. That thing was going to attack me, wasn't it? I ask, having no idea if she can even talk. She nods. I sigh in relief. You can still understand me then. I'm glad. Thank you for saving me, I say, and look up at the gigantic monster. I go to sit down nearby in the grass again. She follows me, stands by my side. I don't really know what to do now. I don't know where to go, I admit to her, looking up again. She shrugs, as if to say, me neither. She holds out her hand. It's almost 5 times the size of mine. I take it, and we head back to the car. I show her my paintings, and build a fire in the middle of nowhere to keep us warm for the night. Does your body still need food, the way it is now? I ask her. She shakes her head. Are you the one who's been killing all the monsters? I haven't seen any of them in a long time. She nods. I smile at her. Do you want to come with me? We can do anything. Go anywhere. She smiles at me and nods. I don't know where we're going exactly, and I don't think we'll ever be romantic partners. But now, at least I know that wherever we go, whatever we end up doing, we can just relax and go at our own pace. There's no need to be afraid anymore. We don't have to run. Thank you for listening and watching. All links and references are in the description below.